Evangelical leaders hosted by the Family Research Council, they met behind closed doors over the weekend. One mission to defeat Donald Trump. The group, as they're known, the nation's most prominent conservative leadership. They held a secret meeting in the Sheraton Hotel in Tysons Corner, Virginia. It was a coalition that represents evangelical voters. And they're an important voting bloc for the GOP because they're not easily led by these leaders, and they're all over the map as far as polls are concerned in key primary states. Now, many of these evangelical leaders are struggling to coalesce around one candidate. They don't want Trump, Jose. Here's the problem. So they all get together. There are about 50 of them, led by Tony Perkins at the Family Research Council. It's a major, evangelical group here in the U.S. A lot of Tea Partiers, if you will. Their group is all over the place in terms of voters, these registered Republican voters, and they're trying to rally behind one candidate. They hold this secret ballot. They all decide it's going to be Ted Cruz, which is really telling because you wonder how these things are decided. And the closed-door meeting of 50 leaders in this country, all of which are with the GOP evangelical group, that's, really telling of how they do things, don't you think? The workings
of politics. I mean, it's clear the Republican Party right now is very, very afraid of seeing an outsider win, seeing Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, these candidates that are anything like the establishment. And I think that's very, very important. We see these efforts to keep the establishment in power, because the moment someone like the outsiders get in power, is going to be very hard to control. Now, the other side of it shows how dangerous a person like Ted Cruz is, because he has knowledge of Congress. He has support in Congress. We see that very influential people is with him, unlike Donald Trump, that in case that Donald Trump happened to be president, I think he will have a very hard time actually get anything done with the parties. Not with him. Mm-hmm. Both the Democrats and many Republicans are against of his policies. Someone like Ted Cruz, he knows how to get things done.
Well, that's a good point, but at the same time, so we're talking about Ted Cruz, who is an active evangelical, and Donald Trump is not. And they're so worried about Trump stealing the evangelical base out from underneath Cruz. And we're talking about the Family Research Council, founded in 1983. Their group tied with a man named Dr. James Dobson, conservative radio host. And it's a group that has a lot of political swing. You and I have talked about them here on the Lip in regards to Joshua Duggar, because he represented the Family Research Council, worked there until his latest scandal where he stepped down. But we're talking about a group that, not the moral police, because I don't want to call them that, but a group that's very divisive in terms of politics here in the U.S. And the fact that they're afraid that Donald Trump is going to do this, and they all have to rally. They get together, they vote on one person so that they can take it home and then rally their base and not propagandize, but push Cruz to potential voters. What does that say? That Cruz, the evangelical, doesn't have the evangelical vote? I mean, this could really be the end of the Republican Party as we know it if Trump gets the nomination.
I think, and that's why they are pushing so hard to develop this backway strategy to prevent Donald Trump from earning the nomination, which goes against democracy in itself. Mm-hmm. You see that the direct vote is in that party is benefiting Donald Trump, but the inner authorities of the party, they're already trying to figure out a way to find the delegate votes in such a way that they prevent him of getting the nomination through a convention trick. So it goes to show how afraid the Republican Party is of having to face the reality that Donald Trump took the stage and is really, finishing the party for them.
You've got the National Association of Evangelicals asking for a candidate, wanting from this group, who do we push? Who do we push? They've decided on Cruz, so you've heard it. The power brokers within the GOP establishment are all throwing their weight around Ted Cruz for 2016.